The chamber echoed with the deep, resonant voice of Admiral Corrin as he stepped forward, his tone a growl that reverberated through the massive stone walls. "Did you really think Earth would just let that go?" he demanded, eyes burning with restrained fury. Before him sat the assembled members of the Galactic Council, a mosaic of species, shimmering scales, twitching antennae, and bulbous eyes, all staring at him with stunned disbelief. The room was thick with the weight of realization. They had gravely miscalculated. Earth's sudden and brutal retaliation had caught them entirely off guard. For decades, Earth had been considered an eccentric oddity on the edge of the galactic map, an ambitious, quarrelsome species dismissed as little more than a curious footnote in the grand saga of interstellar diplomacy. The Council, confident in its superiority and protected in its ivory towers, had watched Earth's relentless innovation and aggressive tendencies with a mixture of amusement and disdain, but they never truly took humans seriously. That, as Admiral Corrin now made clear, had been their greatest mistake. It had started with something as seemingly inconsequential as a trade dispute. The Council had expected Earth to respond with negotiation or, at most, mild protest. Instead, the humans endured a stream of diplomatic slights, suffered through restrictive trade policies, and swallowed degrading bargains with a patience that should have alarmed their watchers. Then came the blockade, the Council's masterstroke. Under the guise of maintaining galactic stability, they severed Earth's vital trade lanes, suffocating its economy and warning of harsher consequences if humans dared to resist. But humanity didn't break. They planned. "It was just a matter of time, wasn't it?" murmured High Arbiter Rashal, his mottled green skin paling visibly. He could feel it now, that heavy sense of foreboding tightening like a noose around the chamber. Earth had not forgotten, especially not after the embargo. As Admiral Corrin continued, the chamber's monitors flickered to life. Images poured in, footage from unmanned probes and intelligence satellites posted near Earth's territories. What the Council saw was enough to make even the most hardened warriors shift uncomfortably in their seats. On one screen, an array of massive warships floated like titans in the void, their obsidian armor swallowing light. Each vessel bore Earth's insignia, a blue sphere with patches of green and white, and shimmered with the pulse of high-powered energy shields. Arms folded, Corrin watched the Council squirm. Some tried to conceal their horror. Others simply gawked in silence. Earth hadn't just fought back, they had reinvented warfare, guerrilla tactics in space, the hijacking of supply routes, coordinated strikes at every logistical choke point. Their response wasn't emotional, it was surgical. "Explain," snapped a counselor with glowing orange eyes narrowed in disbelief. A Karian known for mocking Earth's crude technology now faced undeniable evidence of its potency. "How did they do this without us knowing? Where did they get the resources?" Corrin's reply was almost casual. "They adapted," he said, a small, knowing smirk tugging at his lips. "You back a human into a corner, they don't surrender. They innovate." He let that hang for a moment, watching the Carian squirm. "You didn't notice the signs because Earth never stopped building. They just got better at hiding it." During the embargo, while the Council assumed Earth's industries had collapsed, humanity had gone underground. Production moved to hidden outposts in asteroid belts and on moons, shielded from surveillance. They developed stealth technology so advanced it slipped past even the Council's finest tracking systems. They hacked into surveillance networks, quietly mined untapped resources, and focused every drop of effort into preparing for this moment. The monitors shifted again, now showing a colossal orbital platform stationed just beyond Earth's solar system, an artificial fortress armed to the teeth. Swarms of smaller vessels zipped around it, each fitted with experimental energy cannons and sleek hull designs unlike anything the Council had ever seen. Corrin leaned forward, eyes sweeping the stunned assembly. "You thought the darkness meant they were defeated," he said. "But they were building, reforging their society and military in secret." A collective breath was sucked in as the Council began to understand. Earth hadn't merely endured the embargo, they had used it to transform. Humanity had evolved in isolation, becoming something far more formidable than the Council had ever imagined. Then the final monitor displayed a simple message, intercepted from a secure human transmission. Just one chilling line. "If you seek peace, leave us to it. Interfere again, and we'll ensure the galaxy remembers why you don't cross Earth. High Arbiter Rushel's throat bobbed as he swallowed. They're threatening us, he said, voice barely above a whisper. Corin gave a dry, almost amused chuckle. No, he said. They're warning you. There's a difference. Silence fell over the chamber. The council had to face the harsh truth. The humans were no longer the underestimated species from a quiet galactic corner. They were a rising power, a threat, and one they had helped create. Counselor Threx, a being of coiled scales and bladed arms, hissed in frustration. So they've amassed ships and weapons. You don't expect us to bow to this show of force, do you? Humans are clever, but weak, physically frail. Corin shook his head, unimpressed. And that, he said coldly, is exactly why they're standing against us now. They've turned every weakness into strength, every insult into motivation. You mocked their crude tools. They studied us, studied you. Then they built better ones. Another counselor, translucent and quiet, raised a valid point. Our fleets still outnumber theirs 20-1. Why not surround their system? Cut them off completely? Corin allowed himself a grim smile. Because they've prepared for that too. Every ship they've built is designed to dismantle our formations. Their stealth tech allows them to strike first. They've engineered energy disruptors, drone swarms, something called MP shock rounds, designed to cripple our defenses before we even realize we've been attacked. Counselor Threx bristled. They had no right to develop that level of technology without council authorization. Corin's gaze sharpened. Right? You think they waited for permission? Humans don't wait. That's why you're all afraid now. They don't follow rules they see as unjust. They rewrite them. Tension mounted. The council, for all its power, suddenly seemed smaller, less certain. Their once dominant posture had given way to unease. Rashal attempted to pivot. We could offer incentives, trade routes, mining rights, even a seat on a subcommittee. Corin cut him off, too late for appeasement. You treated them like inferiors. They've answered like a species with something to prove. The chamber grew cold as realization settled in. The council had backed a predator into a corner. Now it was baring its fangs. Suddenly, the room's comm console chimed. A harried officer appeared on screen. High Arbiter Admiral, the Earth fleet has moved into formation around Jump Gate Z-19. They're blocking one of our main trade routes. Chaos erupted. That gate was critical, a nexus between the core systems and outlying colonies. Losing it, even briefly, would cause devastating economic fallout. They wouldn't dare, Threx snapped, though his voice wavered. They would, Corin countered, and they have. Just like we tried to choke them, they're doing it back. Only difference is they're better at it. A long silence followed. What do you propose we do? Rashal finally asked. Recognize them as a sovereign power, Corin said flatly. Lift the embargo, initiate diplomacy, or prepare for a war we're not ready to win. Outrage surged through the council, but it couldn't drown the truth. Earth had rewritten the rules. They weren't asking for power, they were demanding respect. And the council had only two options: grant it, or face the full wrath of a species forged in adversity. Then came the final message. Earth had issued a formal demand, the immediate lifting of embargoes and direct negotiation. Failure to comply would trigger targeted strikes across council sectors. Are they declaring war? Threx spat. Corin's eyes narrowed. Not war, an ultimatum. Rashal exhaled deeply. We are at a crossroads, he declared. Either we acknowledge them or risk destabilizing the entire region. Despite protests, Corin was chosen to lead the envoy. As he departed for Earth aboard the flagship Resolute, he knew this was no longer about leverage or concessions. This was about rewriting the galactic order. Commander Ethan Hayes met him aboard Earth's warship with a handshake, a human gesture of peace. Corin accepted it. They sat down, not as enemies, but equals. Over hours of tense negotiations, Earth's terms became clear: sovereignty, recognition, and open trade. No subjugation, no veiled threats, just dignity and the respect they had earned. Corin saw not pride, but survival. A people who had built a fortress from their scars. By the time Corin returned to the council, the agreement was sealed. Earth would join the galactic community not as a subordinate, but as a peer. And though uneasy, the council finally understood. They had tried to smother a flame. Instead, they had sparked a wildfire. Humanity had risen, not in rebellion, but in strength, and the galaxy would never forget the day Earth stood tall. Corin looked out at the stars from his returning vessel. the words echoing in his mind. Earth hadn't just retaliated, they had transformed the game.